said he's right there.
Picture this, a Boston police officer found dead in the snow during a historic blizzard.
His eyes were shut, and he had spots of blood in different areas on his face.
His girlfriend accused of backing over him with her SUV and leaving him to die. But here's the twist that captured the nation's attention. She claims she's being framed by the very people sworn to uphold justice. This is the Karen Read case, and after nearly 4 years of legal battles, 2 trials, and a verdict that shocked everyone, the question remains, what really happened to John O'Keefe on that freezing January night? The Karen Read case became one of the most divisive criminal trials in recent Massachusetts history, spawning passionate supporters chanting, "Free Karen Read," outside the courthouse, multiple documentaries, and even an upcoming limited series starring Elizabeth Banks. What started as a tragic death during a snowstorm evolved into allegations of police corruption, cover-ups, and a justice system on trial itself. Today, we're breaking down everything that happened in the retrial, examining the evidence from both sides, and exploring why this case continues to haunt a community. Let's dive in. The fateful night, January 28, 2022. Karen Read and her boyfriend, 46-year-old Boston police officer John O'Keefe, were out drinking with friends at 2 bars in Canton, Massachusetts. A blizzard was approaching, but the party continued. According to testimony, tensions were already high between the couple. Text messages shown to the jury revealed they'd been fighting that evening. Witnesses described Read as jealous, not wanting other women around O'Keefe. Late that night, the group planned to continue at a house party at 34 Fairview Road, the home of fellow Boston police officer Brian Albert. This is where the stories diverge dramatically. Prosecutors say Read dropped O'Keefe off at the house around 12:30 am. But here's the critical detail. Witnesses who testified for the prosecution claimed O'Keefe never actually entered the home. According to the Commonwealth's theory, after O'Keefe exited her Lexus SUV, Read put the 6,000-pound vehicle in reverse and pressed the gas at approximately 75% throttle, striking him and leaving him to die in the snow. The next morning, O'Keefe's body was discovered near a flagpole in the front yard, partially covered in snow, during one of the worst storms the region had seen. The investigation and controversy enter Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor, the lead investigator who would become central to the controversy. During the first trial, shocking text messages emerged where Proctor used misogynistic language and made disparaging remarks about Read to friends, family, and fellow officers. In one message, when asked if the homeowner would face scrutiny, Proctor replied, "Nope, homeowner's a Boston cop too." These weren't just unprofessional, they raised serious questions about bias in the investigation. Proctor apologized on the stand, saying emotions got the best of him, but insisted the messages didn't affect how he conducted the investigation. The damage was done. He was suspended in July 2024 and ultimately fired in March 2025, just weeks before the retrial began. But Proctor's texts weren't the only controversial element. The defense highlighted concerns about evidence handling, including Canton Police Department video footage that wasn't preserved, questions about the chain of custody for critical evidence, and allegations that taillight pieces found at the scene could have been planted after Read's vehicle was seized. The prosecution's case, Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan, who notably defended Whitey Bulger, led the retrial prosecution. Their case rested on several key pillars. First, the physical evidence. Broken taillight fragments found in the snow near O'Keefe's body that forensic analysts matched to Read's SUV. Her vehicle showed damage to the rear taillight consistent with hitting something or someone. Second, the data evidence. Prosecutors presented infotainment system data from Read's Lexus showing the vehicle was put in reverse at the critical time. Cell phone records revealed that Read called O'Keefe over 50 times the morning his body was discovered, leaving 8 profanity-laced voicemails. The first message at 12:37 am said, "John, I hate you." Third, witness testimony in Read's own statements. Prosecutors played clips from interviews Read gave to media, including ABC's 2020, trying to highlight inconsistencies in her account. They argued the couple's deteriorating relationship, combined with heavy drinking and a fight that night, created the perfect storm. In closing arguments, Brennan was direct: she was drunk, she hit him, and she left him to die. The defense's counterattack, attorney Alan Jackson led Read's defense team, joined by New York-based attorney Robert Alessi for the retrial. While the first trial focused heavily on the framing theory, that off-duty law enforcement inside the Albert house killed O'Keefe and conspired to pin it on Read, the retrial strategy shifted emphasis. The defense hammered one concept relentlessly: reasonable doubt. Their most compelling argument centered on O'Keefe's injuries, particularly deep scratches and marks on his arm. How did they get there? The prosecution couldn't definitively explain this beyond reasonable doubt. Defense experts argued these injuries were inconsistent with being struck by a vehicle. Dr. Andrew Rensselaer, a biomechanist working for accident reconstruction firm ARCA, testified that O'Keefe's injuries didn't align with the prosecution's theory of being hit by Read's SUV in reverse. The defense also raised troubling questions about the investigation itself. Why wasn't the crime scene properly secured? How could evidence be trusted when the lead investigator showed clear bias? They pointed to flirtatious text messages Read exchanged with another man, Brian Higgins, who was at the gathering that night, suggesting he should have been investigated as a potential suspect. Most dramatically, the defense maintained that O'Keefe was actually attacked inside the Albert home, possibly beaten and bitten by a dog, before being thrown outside to die. Though Judge Beverly Cannon limited their ability to argue a formal third-party culprit defense, they successfully planted seeds of doubt about what really happened. The verdict and aftermath. After 8 weeks of testimony from 49 witnesses and 4 days of deliberation beginning June 13, 2025, the jury reached their verdict on June 18. The courthouse erupted as the results were: Read not guilty of second-degree murder, not guilty of manslaughter, not guilty of leaving the scene of a collision resulting in death. Karen Read was acquitted of all major charges. However, she was found guilty of operating a vehicle under the influence, a first-time offense that carried a standard sentence of 1-year probation, which Judge Cannon immediately imposed. Outside the courthouse, hundreds of supporters who had gathered for months screamed and cheered. Read thanked her legal team and the supporters who had backed her financially and emotionally for nearly 4 years. But not everyone celebrated. The Albert and McCabe families released a statement calling the verdict a devastating miscarriage of justice, adding, "Today, our hearts are with John and the entire O'Keefe family. They have suffered through so much and deserved better from our justice system." The case raises haunting questions. If Karen Read didn't kill John O'Keefe, then who did? Will there ever be another investigation? A federal probe into the police handling of the case concluded without filing any criminal charges. The mystery of what truly happened on that snowy night remains unsolved, leaving a family without closure and a community deeply divided. The Karen Read case is more than just a murder trial. It's a story about trust in law enforcement, the power of reasonable doubt, and how social media can transform a courtroom drama into a national movement. Whether you believe justice was served or denied, one thing is certain: John O'Keefe's death deserves answers that may never come. What do you think happened that night? Do you believe the prosecution's case, or does the defense's theory of a cover-up hold water? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown valuable, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the cases that captivate the nation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.